Hey, there we go. The sound was out there for just a second. It's Monday, April 27th, 2020. It's just a couple of minutes after 7 o'clock, and that means it's time for Campaign Chat Live in State House of Representatives, District 68. My name is Michael Ross. I am the Democratic nominee for Oklahoma's state legislature in District 68. I am the only candidate in the history of this district to do a live streaming interactive program. And so this is Adventures in Live Broadcasting. So I apologize for the little mute there for just a second. It's good to see you all. Thank you for joining me on what has turned into a really nice Monday evening. We had some storms this morning, and I know that tomorrow there's some more forecasted. I'm hoping they will hold off a little bit. If you follow me on social media, you know that I've been spending a lot of time under my car. I am replacing both CV axles and the outer tie rods. I finished one side, and the brake caliper on the passenger side is being really disagreeable. So I have to get out and crank on it some more. I've kind of been laughing to myself that my wife is going to think that the PB Blaster is just my new fragrance of choice. So, for those of you who are like me, who have to make a dollar stretch and who have to live on a budget and have to make sure that your ride can get you safely to and from work, I salute you. Um, and know that you've got brothers in arms out there. So that's been what has been happening at the Ross estate the last few days. Um, as you know, we are still participating in the shelter at home order. Know that in Tulsa city limits, GT Bynum has indicated that he will allow the order to expire uh, as of Thursday. So starting on Monday, that order is lifted. However, it's strongly advised by most of the major metropolitan mayors in the state that you continue to exercise extreme caution. Use that 6 foot social distancing rule. Wear personal protective equipment, masks, gloves. Make sure you're washing your hands regularly and you're not touching your face. Please, please, please take extreme caution. Don't jeopardize your safety. Don't jeopardize the safety of others. I know here at our house, um, my wife works retail over in Tulsa Hills, and her employer has them filling online orders, but the store has not opened up to regular business, and we're hoping that the current model will hold for a little bit longer. My daughter and I, of course, I'm a public school teacher. My daughter attends public schools, so we're going to continue to observe the shelter in place rules. Um, I know that's making us both a little bit stir crazy at times, but I also know that it's much better than the alternative. Please continue to be careful, be safe, um, take extreme caution. Make sure that if you are taking advantage of things like delivery services or curbside delivery or anything like that, make sure that you're treating workers well. Remember that even though we're calling people like grocery store workers or service personnel heroes right now, that they still aren't paid like that. We need to make sure that we keep up the volume on the call for a true living wage for all Oklahomans. So do keep that in mind. Other orders of business that we need to discuss. I've seen at least one notice that the legislature will be reconvening within the next week and a half or so. I'll be interested to see what the agenda looks like. I know that John Eccles indicated that they have uh, couple of different potential tracks for bills, but that of course budget is going to be job one, as it should be. Um, but yeah, that's going to be a story to watch here in the next, like I said, in the next week and a half. I believe uh, the date said the 8th. Um, Let me verify that. So that's a story that's definitely worth watching. Something else that you'll start seeing now and going forward is that you're going to start seeing candidates touting endorsements, touting alignments with organizations. Um, and, I'm excited to say that I have received my first, not outright endorsement, but kind of seal of quality here. So one of the issues that I have been quite passionate about for some time has been establishing more common sense gun regulations in the state of Oklahoma. Uh, and it's something that has put me in alignment with the organization Moms Demand Action. If you're not familiar with Moms Demand Action, they are the largest volunteer grassroots organization committed to ending gun violence nationwide. They have chapters in every state, and they count somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 million volunteers as members of their organizations. It's a it's a really first class organization. I've been attending the meetings for a few months now, and am just constantly both impressed by and kind of challenged by Mom's Demand. Our local chapter is full of moms and dads and neighbors and friends and people in our community who care about creating a safer state, many of whom have been touched by gun violence. And so it was extremely gratifying to me to discover that I have been selected as a Moms Demand Action Gun Sense candidate for the year 2020. So, what this means, again, it's not an outright endorsement. They aren't doing endorsements at this level right now. I think the only outright endorsements they've done have been president and then I think U.S. Senate. Um, but what this does is it indicates that my positions align with many of theirs. And when you stop and think about it, when we talk about creating common sense regulations, when we talk about making a safer Oklahoma, as I'm speaking, I'm checking to make sure. Of course, got our Twitter open in case anyone wants to join in. What we're talking about isn't blanket gun control. What we're talking about is establishing policies that help encourage responsible gun ownership and help create a safer environment for the public at large. Um, the thing is that nationally, common sense legislation is not a fringe concept. It is very much the mainstream. When you look at polling data that was done in the last 2 years, for example, 94% of all Americans support background checks for the purchase of firearms. That includes 92% of Republicans, 98% of Democrats, and 90% of gun owners. That's a mainstream position. When we talk about red flag laws give family or law enforcement a way to ask a judge to temporarily suspend someone's access to guns if they pose a serious threat to themselves or others. That's that's popular with 86% of all voters. Again, 85% of Republicans are in that mix. 82% of gun owners. Um, 91% of voters support prohibiting domestic abusers from purchasing or possessing firearms. That's closing what we call the boyfriend loophole. These are mainstream positions. They're common sense. They are positions that are not designed to derail someone's Second Amendment rights, but they are designed to respect another uh, another aspect of the Constitution that is enshrined even earlier than the Bill of Rights, which is in the preamble. We talk about promoting the general welfare of Americans, securing the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. I can't say that allowing a permissive environment in which the possibility of gun violence could strike anywhere, including on school campuses, is making that guarantee. So these are positions I endorse. They're positions that I will advocate for vocally and vociferously. You'll never have to question where I stand on bills like that. Let me tell you a little bit about why this is so important to me. And again, I'm just checking to see if anyone is chiming in here. I'm a public school teacher. And beyond that, I'm a teacher who was a high school senior when the Columbine massacre happened. And in fact, I was in Colorado that week, within 48 hours of that horrible day, April 20th, 1999. I was in Greeley, Colorado, with my high school uh, vocal group. I played guitar for the choir, and we were at a festival in Greeley at the University of North Colorado, and there were kids from Columbine there, and I will never forget seeing them and seeing just how stricken they were. I'm sure that attending that festival must have been an attempt at doing something normal for them, but that hurt was real and it was apparent. And beyond that, as part of my job, I have been present for I've been present for threats called into schools. I've had to watch over classes as we had to leave the main building because of bomb threats. I each year have to do intruder drills with my students, including shooter drills. And every day that I go to work, I have to ask myself the question, is today that day? And every day that I send my daughter to school, I have to ask that question too. Beyond that, personally, I've been touched by gun violence. I mentioned that part of the purpose of red flag laws was to help prevent people who might harm themselves from having access to firearms. I've lost friends who have chosen to end their lives with firearms. I've lost former students. And when I think about the hurt that I feel, and then I can't even imagine the hurt their families feel. I'm sorry, but that should be our priority. Protecting lives should be our priority, not weekend warrior cosplay. And when you compare the positions that I have staked out, that I have stated clearly, these are my positions, this is where I stand, with the positions of my opponent, it becomes very apparent whose priorities are centered on you, whose priorities are centered on your safety, your family's safety, your kids' safety, your friends. Lonnie Sims does not like to publicly acknowledge when he's had to cast votes on sticky issues. He doesn't issue press releases. He does not like to post about it on his social media. He loves to tell you about what he ate for lunch. He loves to talk about trying to pass a bill to allow snow cone sales year round. If you search his Facebook for the beginning of session last year, you will not find a peep from him about the fact that he voted for permitless carry. If you look through this session, you won't find where he voted for House Bill 2336, which loosens some of the restrictions on allowing firearms on school campuses. Or you won't find him talking about how he voted for House Bill 1111, which is sometimes it's referred to as the designated gunslinger bill. It's the bill that says that firearms can be carried into restaurants and areas where hard liquor is being served. You can't tell me that allowing somebody to carry a automatic weapon into a Chili's makes us safer. You can't tell me that these are policies that in any way center your safety. They're policies that push a increasingly fringe agenda that's out of step with our morals and our values. So that's why the Moms Demand designation is so special to me. And that's so that you know where I stand, whether you agree with me or not. And we can have those conversations. I think it's important to have those conversations. But whether you agree with me or not, something else that I want you to know that you can always count on with me is that even on legislation that's thorny, legislation that's difficult, legislation that is challenging, I will use any method possible, including our live stream chats, to communicate with you and to make sure that you know what's at stake, what my rationale is, and what the road forward looks like. And that leads me to my last kind of bullet point for tonight, and that is this. I want to remind you that the deadline is coming up to register to vote for the June 30th. That's the primary, and importantly for us, that is State Question 802, Medicaid expansion. That's coming up. Know that I'm going to encourage you every step of the way to take every precaution possible to keep yourself safe. And that includes I'm encouraging folks to sign up to vote by mail, to use absentee ballots. It's very, very easy. I will show you the link here in a moment, and when I post this to other platforms, I will be sure and include the link. But it's very, very easy to request, and it reduces the possibility of exposure to COVID-19. Your vote is so important. I want to remind you that Medicaid expansion with State Question 802 is a true expansion, whereas the plan that the governor is pushing, what he calls Sooner Care 2.0, is kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing. Your vote counts, and it's important. So I'm going to give you the link here in a moment. Be sure and be sure and jump on that. Also, want to let you know that starting next Monday, actually, we're going to do 2 weeks of a May phone bank. In that phone bank, I'm going to ask that you make 5 phone calls. That's it. 5 phone calls that are about 2 minutes each. They literally have 2 questions. That's it. And so that's like 10 minutes out of your time whenever it's convenient for you. And by doing that, you can help me make contact with more folks in our district and let them know that they have a candidate who is ready to listen to them and fight for them. Um, so please, please, please check that out. I'm going to post a training video later this week to show you exactly how it works. Um, so don't hesitate to sign up for that and to get involved with the campaign. It's super easy. You can do it from home, from your car, from anywhere you want. Just fire up the phone, and we've got a script, and it automatically generates names and numbers for you, and all you have to do is call and ask the 2 questions. So, phone bank starting May 4th. Please, please, please get involved with that. Um, Remember, please tell folks any way you can about this campaign. This is a people-powered campaign, and especially since we're kind of homebound for now. We're playing it safe. It's important that we get word of mouth going strong. So, with that said, I hope that you all have a lovely evening and week going forward. I will see you next Monday, which will be the first night of the phone bank campaign. Remember, sign up for your absentee ballot. Like, share, uh, forward, do the thing up on all of your social media platforms. Remember, we're Ross4OK pretty much everywhere. So, with that said, I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Thank you again to my friends at Moms Demand Action for their uh, for their seal, and I hope see you again next Monday. Have a great night, everybody.